Hans-Werner Sinn is a professor of economics and public policy at the University of Munich. He's the president of the Ifo Institute and director of the University of Munich Center for Economic Studies. He also is a member of the Council of Economic Advisors in Germany, and is a former president of the American Institute of Public Finance.
The euro was considered to be a big peace project for Europe, and I must say I was very favorable to this whole idea because I thought the euro was a big integration project for Europe. I'm no longer that sure. So what is the European problem? It is a problem of bursting bubbles in Southern Europe, and these bubbles burst because the American crisis swept over, and they came about because of the euro. How come that the euro created bubbles in Southern Europe? The reason was that the euro reduced the interest rates because it reduced the exchange rate uncertainty. These wage increases in Spain and in Greece, which were basically credit financed, and they were going faster than productivity increases. And that meant that the price level increased. And this increase in the price level destroyed the competitiveness of Southern Europe. It seems that the period during which the euro has functioned just was 10 years. This bubble bursting, which occurred in 2007, 2008, meant that all of a sudden, or came about because all of a sudden private investors were no longer willing to finance the huge current account deficits that had built up in Southern Europe. And they even wanted their money back. There was capital flight in addition. Greece will have to devalue its currency, would have to devalue its currency, did it have one by itself, by about 30% to regain competitiveness. But they don't have that currency, and they cannot. That is the major difficulty. There are basically 4 possibilities now for Southern Europe, or to handle that problem. I wouldn't say solutions. The first is we finance these countries from the north permanently. The north finances the south permanently. We gradually move into a transfer union. And that's, I think, what we are doing in the moment. But it's not so good as it sounds, because it makes these countries drug addicted. The second is we deflate, but I told you that it is difficult. That's the argument of Keynes. In addition, today we have the problem that these countries came into their difficulties because they borrowed too much. So households and firms are over-indebted, and you cannot cut wages and prices, then they cannot service their debt. The third possibility is we inflate the Eurozone sufficiently to allow the Southern European countries to just stay behind in this inflation process to gradually regain their competitiveness. And that is what the ECB is currently trying to do with its quantitative easing program. I think it will, by and large, be a possibility. The inflation rate, though, would be large. Then we have to consider a fourth possibility, and that is an exit. I think the exit is not such a terrible event as it is often proclaimed. And here I think it would be useful to have a breathing currency union. Something where you can exit if it is necessary and return at a later point in time. This is better than leaving or losing one generation of young people in this mass unemployment. If we don't do that, if we keep Greece in, it's a bottomless pit. It will go on like this forever. And that we cannot afford.